my dream. The village. It was already there. The rice fields, the watermill. Everything looked just like you told me.
Alright, first things first guys, we have Toplets Productions, which is the same folks behind other games such as Medieval Dynasty, that just announced a brand new IP called Sengoku Dynasty. Basically a survival town building sim and set in a feudal Japan. As of this moment, however, a release date for this game is yet to be announced, but we do know it's coming to PCs via Steam, and that is all. Check it out.
It was so beautiful and peaceful. I couldn't believe it. So, Dad, please promise me. Promise me that we will survive.
Alright, Crimson Desert, well, I would say without a doubt, is one of the most awaited open world IPs in the making since 2021, and one that's been developed by the same folks behind Black Desert Online. See, previously this game was said to act as a prequel to Black Desert, but that just changed, and instead this new game will be a standalone IP entirely. Other than that, also knows that this game is due out early next year and coming to consoles and also PCs.
进入角色选择界面，这里我们提供给大家3个职业可以选择：战士、游侠以及魔法师。手柄十字键左右可以选择。
Coming up at number 3, it's a third-person action RPG going by A Rise of Awakener. This project was actually announced at the Tokyo Games Show last year and is set to come out sometime next year and into PCs and the PlayStation consoles only. If you are a fan of games such as Dragon's Dogma, you could probably tell A Rise of Awakener is taking heavy inspirations from that with a dash of Assassin's Creed Black Flag 2. Check it out and make sure to stay tuned for that precise release date in the future.
气步伐冲过去，呀，大空啊！那我们找一些跳跃拉开距离，找机会攻击。跳跃，我靠！我本来以为可以躲掉这个甩尾攻击的，但是技能和正常人骑路军下走位，使用一个远程技能来骚他一下，我可以成功打出了他的2阶段，这样会像个傻子一样在空中喷火。跳跃虚斩，正好踩他的后脚，一个突袭斩跟着他走位，找机会拉距离，跳起来虚斩整屁股，跳劈，好，再一走开头，那骨头，起步法来，龙斩，终于把他干死了。好了，你们肯定以为 demo 到这里结束，这好看，吓死我了，我还以为掉下去了。但是 demo 没有这么快结束，因为我还想做更多的 BOSS 跟流程给大家玩体验这个游戏。继续往后推，到这边是一个过场段。
Varric! Harold!
Alright, moving on, it is Senua's Saga Hellblade 2. Literally the biggest game in development in terms of graphics and anticipation in 2022 since God knows when. We do know this game is currently in development for Xbox Series X and PCs and said, well, rumored to be coming out early next year. There was a couple of trailers for Hellblade 2. I do recommend checking them out if you haven't already. This game itself at its core is also an action adventure.
I never meant for any of this to happen. All this bloodshed.
At number 5, we have Lost Eidolons, a turn-based tactical RPG and one with a heavy focus on cinematic narrative. Now, this game is set in a sort of a dying empire due to civil war, wherein you take on the role of a mercenary captain and then eventually leading a band of allies through a classic turn-based journey. Check it out, this game's set to be coming to basically every single platform late 2022.
We didn't start this war. But one way or another, we're gonna end it. I'll do whatever it takes to bring my people home. And no king, no friend, nothing will stop me!
Up next, it's I, the Inquisitor, what the company announced about 2 years ago to be a story-driven game set in the medieval times. Now, this studio behind this project, going by Dust, finally came out and said that I, the Inquisitor, will be ready later this year and apparently actually focusing on an alpha version so they could release beforehand as well. Check it out, the game's coming to next generation consoles only in addition to PCs.
Hush your candy-striped lips, for nighttime comes. The soft beat of starlings echo like distant drums. Breathe more still. Close your empty, heavy eyes.
Now, you don't really need to be a die-hard medieval games fan to know about the Wayward Realms already, I would say, because this game is another hit RPG by the lead developers of the first two Elder Scrolls games announced 3 years ago, with the premise of an RPG open world that would consist of over 100 islands to go through. See, previously this game was said to be years away, but apparently not. It is actually due out sometime later this year, although a precise release date for it is yet to be announced.
Unlearn, once lost and wayward dreams return.
Dig the grave and let me lie.
Hugo, I'm right behind you.
So as of 2022, literally one of the top 5 most anticipated games to come out this year, A Plague Tale Requiem is now on its way to basically all consoles in addition to PCs and also the Nintendo Switch. This story of which now follows 2 sisters on their journey and attempting to start a new life after running away from their home. However, the game itself still at its core is an action-adventure, but also a survival horror. Check it out, make sure to stay tuned for a precise release date for this game.
I don't know what's happening to me, Lucas. I feel my mind going. I know. Think of your brother. We have to carry on. Oh no.
Moving on, we have Return to Nangrim by an indie developer announced no more than a couple of months ago that touts the game as a first-person fantasy adventure with survival and RPG elements. The folks at the team then even described it as a mix of Skyrim, The Lord of the Rings, and some Hellblade into the mix as well. Check it out, this game is coming to PCs only with VR support as well and due out sometime in June this year. Project Lilith, on the other hand, is a dark fantasy Souls-like, as suggested by its official page. Coming to Steam at some point next year, you can actually wishlist it now as well. Gameplay-wise, however, it's mostly about the combat, which is a brutal one, and other stuff like management and exploration, and then looting for a bit of a kick. Check it out, this game's supposedly coming out later on in 2022 and into PCs only. Alright, up next it's Noble's Life Kingdom Reborn, a realistic medieval life simulator and at the same time a strategy game with some historical depth to it. So I would say basically if you've ever wanted to know what it really takes to truly be a nobleman back in the medieval era, well then you might want to keep this one on your radar, because anything you see here will eventually be a real thing in the game itself. Check it out, this one's actually not coming out until 2023 and into PCs only. Now, on the other hand, it's Trail of Ayash, an open-world RPG that focuses on ancient Colombian tribes in terms of lore, which kind of looks like Viking-ish a bit, but yeah. This game is currently in its mid-development stage with a release date still yet to be announced, but only coming to PCs probably sometime later this year. Check it out. Now, Myth of Empire is a sandbox strategy, crafting, and survival game that is being developed by Imperium Interactive, the servers of which will go live this April. Finally, you can actually purchase this game now and through its official website, because for some reason it's just unavailable on Steam or any other online markets. However, it's definitely one of the games to keep in mind, especially if the open world RPG element is something you'd usually go for. Check it out.
Get them. Turn back! Time for killing!
Moving on, we have Vikings Age of the Axe from exactly a year ago from this moment. That actually came our way with nothing more than just an announcement trailer and now some actual gameplay. This game's a first-person slasher with both single-player mode and an online co-op, and possibly due out in about a month or two from now. Check it out, this game is coming to PCs only.
Father's face behind gnashing orc teeth, or Ma wailing. Our wicked caravan of twisted, thirsting flesh and thorn metal chains.
So speaking of exactly 1 year ago, I can't really remember the last time I actually mentioned this one, but Project Dark Grey is also one of the indie games in the making that actually worth a mention. Which is, as you could probably tell, mainly an action game, but probably with a dash of storytelling and adventure elements. Other than that, all we know is that the folks behind this game are trying to bring the project on Steam, but an update regarding which is still to come our way. Check it out.
Hello everyone, my name is Jacob and welcome to another developer update. We are very excited to show you the progress we have made since our last video. As some of you might know, we have been running a crowdfunding campaign on Indiegogo.
Up next, we have Renown, which is basically a multiplayer survival game set in a vast and ever-changing medieval world, where players begin the journey with nothing, then gathering resources, building a kingdom, and fighting to survive. See, at its core, well, Renown is a first-person fighting game with a strong emphasis on competitive skill-based combat. Check it out, this game is coming to PCs on Steam either late 2022 or early next year.
Refine and build upon. We also have several prototype game modes in the works, including Team Deathmatch, Last Team Standing, and Duels. We hope the players will be able to test these very, very soon. Another feature we are very proud to announce is our first integration of the customization system. Again, this is still an early prototype, but we decided to let our testers have a crack at it. Being an early system, it's still rudimentary, but we hope this will help demonstrate our plans for the level of control that we want players to have when designing their clan colours in the future.
Now, Robin Hood Builders of Sherwood is an action-adventure city builder RPG, well, hybrid, so to speak, where you will take the role of a classic, Robin Hood, who fights for justice basically in a fictional city called Sherwood. What we do know is that Robin Hood Builders of Sherwood consists of fighting, crafting, stealing, and then eventually helping the local community to grow, and all of which within an open world setting. Check it out, this game is coming to PCs possibly later this year. And last but not least, there's Knights and Outlaws. Not a multiplayer game at all of the looks could be deceiving, but a hack and slasher. Don't think there's much to say about this game besides the trailer, which kind of speaks for itself, so all you guys need to know is that this game is coming to PCs via Steam sometime later this year. Check it out.